K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
And good evening. I hope you're having a good one. How are ya? I'm your host, Daniel Stafford, and yes, you are listening to The Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. And tonight, got a handful of things to talk about, but first, I want you to know there are many ways to listen. So, wherever you're at, set this channel as a favorite, whatever you have to do so you don't get left behind. And if for some strange, crazy reason you do miss the show, you can catch the replay. So just sit tight. There is no need to panic. I've got you. And in case you aren't already following on social media, you can do so on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. Look me up on Facebook as well. All you got to do is search for The Stafford Voice. You can follow Politainment Group. You can follow Angie. You can follow Pole. Polita Bunny, Sam, she's out there. She posted a great article today over at politainment.net. Also, follow Jason DeWilkins, according to me, and everybody else here at the station. You got Rick, you got Steve, there is just a host. There's just a host of great content. And speaking of the station here at K98 Talk, if you have not done so, head on over to the chat room. You can join a handful of like-minded individuals. All you got to do, go to k98talk.com/chat-room and join in the conversation over there as well. I am paying attention. It's good to see my buddy Steve Long showing up. We got Slickery Trigger in the house. We got Kelly. We got Angie still sitting around. She hasn't blown the coop yet. We've got Tina. Handful of awesome conservatives, libertarians, and just like-minded individuals. Now, I'm going to throw something out there. And I hope it kind of sets a little bit of the tone on where we're going tonight. And it comes by way of James Madison, Federalist number 62, back in 1788 when he published that pamphlet. He said, quote, "The internal effects of a mutable policy are still more calamitous. It poisons the blessings of liberty itself. It will be of little avail to the people that the laws are made by men of their own choice, if the laws be so voluminous that they cannot be read, or so incoherent that they cannot be understood. If they be repealed or revised before they are promulgated, or undergo such incessant changes that no man who knows what the law is today can guess what it will be tomorrow." When I came across that earlier today, that just kind of screamed to me that it was just a simple argument for common sense. If you have to come up with a multi-thousand page bill about something similar to, let's just throw it out there, Obamacare. Something like Obamacare. Nobody knows what the hell nobody understands it. Not even Nancy Pelosi, and she said we had to pass it to find out what was in it. So, let me ask you a question. Why is Donald Trump doing so well? I mean, it's like you walk into a music store and everybody is tuning their trumpets. It's madness and chaos everywhere you go. But Why is Trump doing so well? For instance, yesterday he released, and he probably would have released it today, but, he had jury duty. I don't know if he was just trying to pull one of his old Trump stunts or what, but he released it yesterday. He was, this is what he calls his 3 core principles of real immigration reform. And by the way, a lot of the stories and stuff that we'll talk about tonight, you can find them over on polititainment.net or on the Stafford Voice. And I wrote about this one yesterday, thestaffordvoice.com. So he lays out these 3 core principles, and they're really just common sense. They really are. I mean, these are the things that countless Americans, countless patriots have been shouting for the last 5, 10, 15 years. First one, number 1, a nation without borders is not a nation. He says that there must be a wall across the southern border. I totally agree. I mean, when you look at a map, you got these little tiny dotted lines, but when you, for instance, when you go to, say, Oklahoma, if you were to try and walk the border of Oklahoma, you'd have a really hard time doing it. Same way over in California or Utah, Colorado, wherever, it doesn't matter. You try and walk the border to a state, you're going to have a hard time because they're not clearly defined. But that's different. It's different in the fact that collectively we are part of a single nation. That's why we are called the United States of America. A nation without borders is not a nation. So true. It's common sense. Everybody has been shouting that for I don't know how long. They want a wall on our southern border because they know that it's got more holes than Swiss cheese. Number 2, a nation without laws is not a nation. That kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Madison. Right? If we're writing laws that are so huge, and to use his language, so voluminous that they can't be read, and so incoherent that we can't understand them, how is it that it makes it easy to follow? How is it easy to follow the law when it's not even really clearly defined? He says that to further push point 2, he says laws passed in accordance with our constitutional system of government need to be enforced. And that's true. You've got to follow the Constitution first and foremost. Nothing else can come of it other than following the Constitution. So yes, a nation without laws is not a nation at all. Number 3, he says, a nation that does not serve its own citizens is not a nation. Any immigration plan must improve jobs, wages, and the security for all Americans. Again, this is not brain surgery. We're not splitting open someone's cranium, poking around and trying to see what we get. This is just common sense stuff that everybody that you talk about, and you yell across your neighbor at the across the fence in the backyard. These are the same things that you talk about with your neighbors, your friends, your family, your coworkers. Am I right? It's common sense. Now, trust me, I'm not one of those guys that's trying to tune my trumpet. I'm not a trumpet at all. I just want to illustrate the fact that that's one of the reasons why Trump is doing so well. Is because he's saying the things that are on everyday people's minds. Everyday people understand. You and I, we understand that we have to have a border. You go and we'll talk about this one later. You go back into history and you look at Germany, for instance. Germany built the wall. You had East Germany and West Germany. On one side you had freedom, the other side, not so much. Go back even farther in history and, well, hell, that wall has stood the test of time. The Great Wall of China. China built a wall. It didn't matter if a mountain was in their way. They put it right on top. Right on top of the mountain. It didn't matter if they knew that their enemy couldn't cross that mountain. They still built the damn wall. They understood that you had to have a border in order to be able to defend anything that is yours. But how do you know what's yours if you don't understand the laws and you don't uphold those laws and align them with the Constitution? How can you protect the citizens of a nation when you curtail to the enemy? When you open your border and allow them to come across, when you allow these people to come across, what do? We give them food stamps. We put them in Section 8 housing. We give them free health care. They get a free Obama phone. The list goes on and on and on. And what are they doing with it? They milk the system even more. They don't pay taxes, and yet they get something back. They get paid cash, and they take that cash and they go pay their $30 Section 8 rent that the average citizen would pay somewhere between $500 to $800, for instance. And they take that money, they sock it away, or they send it back down across the border. Mexico is getting rich because of the ignorance of those in Washington. Now, I'm not trying to ride the coattails of Trump here. I think there are far better candidates out there. Candidates like Ted Cruz. Candidates like Ben Carson. And, you know, we can put Carly Fiorina on the rocks only because, you know, she's got questionable past with some of the companies that she's ran. I mean, we've got to focus on American citizens first. It's just like what you do at home. You do it and I do it. When it comes time, when you go and you sit down at the dinner table, do you worry about Hector? Do you worry about LaQuisha? Do you worry about your neighbor? No, first and foremost, you pay your bills. If there's a little left at the end of the month, you save some, and then you give. That's what we do. We pay our bills, we take care of our house first. The Lord has told me that I need to keep my house in order. And that's what I do. I keep my house in order. And from there, I give. I have no problem helping the next guy. I have absolutely no problem helping someone in the lower class work their way and get into the middle class, or hell, even pass me and make it to the upper class. Oh, that would be fantastic. Make it. Live the American dream. And that's another thing. All of these people, they're coming across for what? Okay, let's be realistic here. Let's say 75 to 85% of these people are coming here for a reason. They're escaping something so horrible and coming over here in the hopes of a brighter future. Hopes of a brighter tomorrow. That's one of the reasons why Trump is doing so well, because he's speaking what's on most people's minds. But then again, so many other candidates are out there. I haven't dove into it yet, but apparently Jeb Bush, has put out a plan for how he wants to tackle the VA. And so stay tuned over at thestaffordvoice.com, where I will hopefully at some point, either tomorrow or Wednesday, put something out about what I think. We continue to talk about Trump because, well, he's the one making the biggest waves. If you're not out there making waves, then you're not going to get any traction, and you're not going to be able to ride that wave to an election. You're just not going to last. Well, you know what? We're going to take a break, and I'm going to dive into... and if you haven't paid attention to social media, whether you're over on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you will have noted that I've got some incredible Nutella banana bread. I'm going to dive into some of that, and when we come back from the break, I want to talk to you about Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I know, it's like a bad nursery rhyme, hickory dickory dock, yeah. But you know what, when we come back from the break, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about Hillary Clinton. We'll be right back.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you've got a business, you didn't build that.
The feeling most people get when they hear Barack Obama's speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I don't have that too often.
Steady.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. Ricky Robinson, host of America Off the Rails, will tackle the important issues facing America today as he tries to keep America from coming off the track. Get ready to hear the truth every Monday through Friday starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, and on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern and 11 Central here on K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
Welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name.
About you, but I'm not the type of guy that jumps into anything without first doing my research. And when I was looking for a holster, I'll admit I was having one heck of a time. You know what I'm talking about here. You find one you like, you try it on, it would be clunky. Another one fits good, but costs way too much. So you try on one last holster. It was slim, lightweight, priced right, but lo and behold, you slide your pistol in, and it falls right out. So what do? You've tried all these mass market holsters. Well, go custom. I know what you're thinking. I thought it too. Too pricey. Wrong. My guy over at Rebel Road Tactical will not only put together the perfect fitting, hand-molded, hand-assembled, custom Kydex holster, but you'll get it at an affordable price. Don't wait. Contact Rebel Road Tactical today at 682-217-4579. Again, that's 682-217-4579. Place your order.
As a distinguished gentleman, I need a serious source of news. One that doesn't waste my time when I'm enjoying my tea and crumpets.
White powdered! White powdered!
One that catches the most important stories of the day.
The poop plane.
Was it jet poop? Real serious nonsense. Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, now on K98 Talk.
I'm gonna just move in another direction towards the classy.
We'll be classy and not say dildo.
They're completely different.
Call now. 913-440-4889.
All right, we are back, and oh my goodness. Nutella, banana, bread. Wow. If you want the recipe, reach out to me. I gotta get you that. It is fantabulous. One of the best things I've had in months. Okay. If you haven't figured out by now, Hillary Clinton is starting to unravel like a bad nursery rhyme. And to my buddy Steve Long over in the chat room, it's okay. If you eat in moderation, I'm sure your diabetes will handle it. You take care. I know you take care of yourself. So you've got to do it. If you like Nutella, you like banana bread, oh my gosh, it is fantastic. I got to get back on topic because I could talk for another 20 minutes about how incredible it is. Really, probably the only thing it needs is raisins. Throw some raisins in there, oh my gosh, my mind would explode. Okay, so Hillary Clinton is unraveling like a bad nursery rhyme. Yeah, it's like Hickory Dickory Dock all over again, right? All the Queen's horses and all the Queen's aides. Well, they couldn't put Hillary Clinton back together again. I think she's fallen off the wall or fallen off the horse or whatever. And I say that because I want to ask you a question. Wow, that almost came out like my Christopher Walken. Let me ask you a question. Is Hillary Clinton, is she in a class of untouchables? So I threw out there yesterday or the day before, sometime over the weekend over at the StaffordVoice.com, asking the same question, is Hillary Clinton in a class of untouchables? And I don't know if she's fallen out of the horse's ass or if she is the horse's ass, but she has a love affair with Snapchat. If you paid attention over the weekend, she jokingly said that, quote, I love it. I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves. Oh my God, facepalm, you idiot. Look, we realize, and I'm speaking to Hillary Clinton when I say this, we realize how stupid and out of touch you are, but, oh my gosh, that's really, wow. The banana bread's wanting to talk to me. You are so out of touch. You have no clue at all. But this elite class of untouchables, whether she is one of the most highest people in this class or ranking right up there with them leads people to think that she's slicker than water on a duck's back. And, you know, Fox News touched on this earlier today. They put out something where they had a couple of people, where she had a couple of people coming out, or I'm not saying she, I apologize. Where Fox News had they interviewed a couple of people coming forward talking about this very thing, talking about a double standard. One guy, his name is John Kiriakou. He's a former CIA counterterrorism operative. He says, of course it's a double standard. He spent 2 years in federal prison and 3 additional months under house arrest this year for leaking the name of a covert CIA official involved in, quote, enhanced interrogation techniques. He continued when he said, quote, the FBI is going to investigate Hillary Clinton, but it is not up to them. If they, the FBI, want to charge Hillary Clinton with a crime, they can certainly find a crime with which to charge her. And he added, but there is no way the Obama administration is going to prosecute her. No way. That's just one opinion. How about another one? Certainly there's another guy out there, or gal, that was looked at or attacked. Thomas Drake. He's a former NSA official who, after 9/11, went to Congress to sound the alarms about what he called unconstitutional surveillance. He also says that there's a double standard when it comes to applying the Espionage Act. That's their whole premise of the Fox News article that was released today was about the Espionage Act, and that's kind of where all of what the article was pointing to is how many people have been prosecuted under the Espionage Act under the Obama administration. And Thomas Drake is another one of those guys where they applied this classification law to. He says, quote, I got hammered. Good. And he later pleaded to a single misdemeanor for, quote, exceeding authorized use of a government computer. A violation he compares to, quote, spitting on the NSA sidewalk. I think Clinton is vulnerable, but whether she enjoys what I call elite immunity, we don't know. For much lesser violations, people have lost their jobs. But when you get to the higher ranks, it's like another set of rules. How about Stephen Kim, former State Department official, pleaded guilty in 2014 to disclosing a classified report on North Korea to Fox News reporter James Rosen. His lawyer said the information at issue, quote, was less sensitive or surprising than much of what we read in the newspaper every day. You know his punishment? He did 13 months in prison. Well, what about Edward Snowden? Ed Snowden, he leaked hundreds of thousands of documents while on about government surveillance, and he's been charged while being absent because he sought asylum in Russia. Well, how about another guy? General David Petraeus. He was charged with keeping classified... check this irony. General David Petraeus was charged with keeping classified information at home in the form of secret, quote, black books. He was given a 2-year probation and a $100,000 fine, but... So, here's the big caveat. David Petraeus is not apparently reached the plateau. He's not part of the official untouchable class, but he gets the blessings of some of the perks. He is reportedly consulting with the White House on ISIS and Iraq, and is the chairman of the KKR Global Institute. All of this is brought up because They're wading through some, 30,000 emails? And so far, 60. Among the first 60 flagged emails, nearly all of them contained secrets. Whether it's at the lowest level of confidential or the middle-of-the-road level of, quote, secret official documents. Unbelievable. We know that the Clintons can pretty much get away with anything, and a little more on that later. The Clintons can get away with just about anything. They really can. I personally would never dream, and it's probably because I would never achieve the status of being a State Department official or whatever. Who comes up with the idea? Who honestly comes up with the idea that they need to have their own private server in their house to keep a record of every single one of their corresponding emails? Remember Nixon and Watergate? Bob Woodward, he's the guy that helped break open the Watergate scandal. I'm trying to remember where that. This was over at the Washington Examiner, where they interviewed him, and they said that he says, quote, "Follow the trail here. There are all these emails. Well, they were sent to someone, or someone sent them to her, so if things have been erased here, there's a way to go back to these emails or who received them from Hillary Clinton. So you've got a massive amount of data. In a way, reminds me of the Nixon tapes. Thousands of hours of secretly recorded conversations that Nixon thought were exclusively his." He continues, he says, it's extraordinary. Again, it's the volume. 60,000 emails, and Hillary Clinton has said 30,000 of them, half, were personal and they were deleted. Who decided that? What's on those emails? I would love to have all 60,000 of them and read them. It would be a character study about her personal life and also what she did as Secretary of State. And step back for a moment. The big question about Hillary Clinton is, who is she? Is she this secretive, hidden person, or is she this valiant public servant? Look at those 60,000 emails and you're going to get some answers. Again, only half of the initially reported 60,000 emails are there. She deleted them. Whether she's out there deleting the next chocolate chip cookie recipe, or planning, or it's conversation back and forth between her and Chelsea planning the wedding, who cares? But leave it up to somebody else to decide whether those need to be deleted or not. It should have been immediately turned over. And kudos to them actually finding... Look, did you know that there was another piece of... there was another something else out there that they found? When they took her... when they took her server after she had pretty much demolished it and deleted probably all the most incriminating evidence, there was another piece of information out there. It was a thumb drive, which pretty much contained a digital archive of her complete inbox. But this information is out there. And the company that she hired from Colorado, and whether they're high or not, who knows, but this company out there that she hired is coming out and saying that they're going to cooperate. There's got to be another trail that of these emails. There has to be. You can't just hit the delete button on your keyboard and expect it to be gone. There's still remnants. There is still something there that will incriminate her. And unfortunately, she's probably nothing will ever come of it. Honestly, she's going to say at this point, what difference does it make? And everybody's going to be okay with it. They're going to change the channel, go back and watch Martha Stewart and buy new carpet. Plan their niece's wedding. They're going to do something. Whether she's selling national secrets, I don't know. To answer your question, Tina, in the chat room. For her own gain. And for the gain of the Clinton Global Initiative. Where this is just a basic scam where they're out there collecting thousands and millions of more dollars and pocketing it. Very, very minute amounts of the money that they collect through the global initiative of theirs actually gets used. But we've got to hold these people accountable. Where is the leadership? Where is the leadership in Washington? That's what we've got to find. We've got to elect a leader. Is there another Reagan out there? No. Is there someone equally or greater than Reagan? Yes. There is. Are we going to find it in someone who is deleting half of their inbox because they're afraid they're going to look bad? No. Are we going to find it in someone who thinks they're part of some dynasty? Bushes? No. Somebody needs to trim the bushes. They're getting a little full. Do we need to polish our trumpets and sound from the rooftops? No! We need someone who has a track record, day in and day out, who looks to the Constitution and fights for it. Who, if they don't have time to read the bill, they vote no. We need someone who is not afraid to stand up and look the enemy in the eye and say no. I'm going to leave you with that as we go to our next break. And when we come back, we're going to lighten the mood, well, just a little bit. We're going to hit up on this day in history, and then also our last little segment that we like to call Who Said That? When we come back, here on the Stafford Voice.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Not on my watch, our military service members say, as they volunteer to serve. As they move out, stand firm, and take fire. So not on our watch, we say, to the severely ill or injured veterans who can't get the care they deserve to live full and independent lives, even when there's no government funding, or a nursing home seems like the only option. We won't leave one warrior behind. Not on our watch. Join us at findwwp.org.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405.
Conservative in a world of liberal.
The Stafford Voice.
All right, yes, that is right. This is the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. I am your host, Daniel Stafford. Now, if you're living under a rock and you haven't heard, Mark Levin has an excellent book out right now. Just came out, I think, 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I think, is when it came out. It's one of those ones where it takes a while to digest it. I've got sticky notes hanging out of just the three. I've got 10 or 15 sticky notes sticking out of all of the pages, and I've only made it to like chapter 3. I know I'm a slow reader, but again, it's one of those ones that you have to slowly digest. Excellent read so far. But you know, while I'm slow at reading sometimes, I really don't always have the time to pick up a good book and just sit and read. The last time was, I can't even remember when. Well, even though I don't have time to stop and pick up that book, I do have a smartphone. I've got a tablet, and I've got a subscription to audible.com, and I want to invite you to do the same. You can be driving across the city, you could be cutting the grass, whatever, you could be doing housework. Grab a smart device and you can get caught up on all the great books you want to read but can't. And if you're like me, you love to read but don't have the time, you need to get a subscription to audible.com. And as a listener to the show and to the rest of the Polititainment group, we've got an amazing offer for you. If you go out right now and sign up, you're going to get a free 30 days, no strings attached trial to audible.com. You're going to get a free book, and since it's part of Amazon, yes, there's like hundreds and thousands of books to choose from. Even the newest releases like Mark Levin's Plunder and Deceit. All you have to do, go to audibletrial.com/polititainment. Again, audibletrial.com/polititainment and sign up, download it today, and get going. Stay current, stay educated. I know you are amongst one of the smartest listening audiences out there, and it's because you read. You're not afraid to pick up a good book. So I would invite you to go out and take that offer. It really is incredible. Now, as you know, I really like history. And I was toying with what to talk about today on this day in history. But these two things right here kind of sum up what we've talked about all night long. Back in 1962, I made earlier in the evening I made reference to Germany. They built a wall, the Berlin Wall. And in 1962, East Germans killed a guy that was trying to cross that wall. Well, let me give you a little more information about this. East German guards, they gunned down a young man who was trying to escape across the Berlin Wall into West Berlin, and they left him to basically bleed to death. It's one of the ugliest incidents that, and one of the ugliest symbols of the Cold War that took place. Well, on this day in history, these two young men from East Berlin, they wanted to, they wanted freedom. And so they tried to scramble across the wall. One of them was successful. He successfully climbed the wall, the last barbed wire fence, and even though he suffered all these cuts, and he made it across. Well, the second guy wasn't so lucky. He was shot by machine guns on the East Berlin side. He fell, stood up again. He reached the wall and began to climb over. More shots. He was hit in the back, screamed, fell backwards. He fell off the wall, and for almost an hour, he laid there bleeding to death and crying for help. The West German guards, they threw bandages to him in the hopes that they tried to do what they could. Well, there was a crowd of West Berlin citizens who were screaming at the German guards. And, well, they seemed pretty content to just let the guy lay there and die and bleed out. Here's a country that tried to define things by building a wall, and they put up a separation where on one side you had liberty, on the other side you had something horribly atrocious. And these people were willing they were risking their lives for freedom, to have a little bit of freedom, much like our founding fathers did. Right now we're faced with a simple choice. Do we want freedom? Do we want liberty or not? Fast forward a little bit to 1998, and on this day in history, guess who testified before the Office of Independent Counsel? Because he was part of a grand jury investigation. Yes, he was the first sitting president to do so. But, listen, President, but hey, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I didn't. I mean, have you seen Hillary? Oh, wait, wrong lady. Okay, enough of the joking aside. Okay, so President Bill Clinton testifies before the Office of Independent Counsel, part of a grand jury investigation. Why? Well, because supposedly he had this prosecutor, Kenneth Starr, they uncovered an affair between Clinton and a White House intern named none other than Monica Lewinsky. Well, when questioned about the affair, Clinton obviously denied it, which the prosecutor, Kenneth Starr, he was led to charge the president with perjury, obstruction of justice, and it wound up leading to his testimony on this day in history, August 17th. Well, after testifying, Clinton addressed the nation via live television, and he gave his side of the story. He admitted to an inappropriate relationship with Lewinsky and said that he regretted misleading his wife and the American people when he denied the affair earlier. Kind of a record with the Clintons right there, where they continue to lie about things. Lies, all lies, I tell you. Anyway, that sound right there tells me it is time for another episode of Who Said That? And if you're a first-time listener, Who Said That is where we call somebody out who is obviously stuck on stupid. So stuck on stupid that, well, sometimes they are too stupid to insult. And honestly, it doesn't matter whether they're a Republican, a Democrat, a liberal, conservative, right down the middle, whether they wear a hairpiece or do a comb over. It doesn't matter. We'll call you out on it. And this night, yeah, well, lo and behold, we found somebody. It's almost comical. They almost fall into your lap. About the email scandal, look, how do you defend this? Well, I don't know about you, but some out there on her side are trying to do that, and check out what one supporter is saying.
Secretary of State Clinton was not the first Secretary of State to use personal email, but she's the only one that has turned over tens upon thousands of her emails to become public. Now she's turned over her server. What this has turned into is just a good old-fashioned political witch hunt.
A good old-fashioned political witch hunt. Oh my God. Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill, shut the hell up. I'm glad I don't live in Missouri. I'm glad I'm over on the Kansas side. Claire's an idiot. I don't know if she forgot to take her medication today or what. Unbelievable. It's a political witch hunt. No, it's not a political witch hunt. This broad is out there making copies. Yeah, making copies of emails, highly classified, copies of emails, onto her own personal server that's in her house. She hired somebody to set this up and do it for her. There's no secret about what she was doing. None at all. It's not a political witch hunt. It's protecting our country, you idiot. Oh my God, I'm not going to call out all the people in Missouri, but Missouri, you can do better than that. You guys out there need to find somebody better than Claire McCaskill to represent you. Oh my word. Unbelievable. Look, when I was in the military, I had a top secret clearance. One of the reasons why is there were two reasons why. One, because I was handling weapons. Two, because I'm handling documents for the commander and the first sergeant of the company. And let me tell you, there were times where that envelope said top secret, and the envelope was open. The last thing I was going to do was risk opening it to see what it was all about. For your eyes only. The last thing I had a top secret clearance, and I wasn't making copies. She is in a league all of her own for being a national security risk. She has put the safety of this country and so many thousands of members of the military in harm's way because she wanted to protect herself. She didn't care about anybody else but herself. For this week, our Who Said That is Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill, completely stuck on stupid for out there making the ignoramus claim that this is just a political witch hunt in trying to take down Hillary Clinton. Leave it to Hillary. She's going to take herself down, just like the comb-over will. Okay? The comb-over will take care of himself. Hillary will take care of herself. The bushes will get trimmed, and the rubies, I don't think, are as bright as people think. They're kind of dull. You can't really see through them. Anyway, look, I can still see how many people are over in the chat room, and you know what? Thank you to everyone who has tuned in tonight. Sadly, that is all the time we have for this week, and God willing, the Stafford Voice will be back next week. You can follow me over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice, and while you're out there in the interwebs with your smart device, download Periscope, and throughout the week, I'll throw out a couple of on this day in history. Follow me over there. If you're not doing so, follow me on Twitter at Stafford Voice. You can look me up on Instagram, find me over on Facebook. All you got to do, wherever you're at, just search for the Stafford Voice. I'll be there. Also, anytime you've got a question, comment, hate mail, or just an overall thanks for what you do, email those to me. I will respond individually. Send those to me to thestaffordvoice@gmail.com, thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for your time tonight, and until next week, thanks, and God bless.